do this.
Let's go. It's men's 1500-meter semifinals. You want to talk about personality? Here is one. Yep, rocking the mo and the mullet. Craig Engels.
You know, Craig Engels, his coach Pete Julian says he's just a breath of fresh air. He has so much personality, and he brings it to the track every time he shows up. He's just a huge favorite in the running community. He drove down to Eugene in a special ride. You know, his ride that he rode down here from Portland down here to Eugene.
He is quite the dude. He is quite the dude, and he has the ability to go to the Olympics. So, he is going to come up against, Craig Engels is going to come up against Yared Nuguse, the 22-year-old collegiate star who could spring a surprise here.
Yeah, Nuguse has been having an excellent season. He looks really relaxed. He looks so good in the rounds. And, you know, he believes that the strength-based program of Notre Dame is really going to set him up to do well here and progress as the rounds continue.
Look out for all in green, hit number 7, Vincent Ciatti.
Yeah, Ciatti's a former runner for Virginia Tech. Now he runs for the Oregon Track Club Elite right here in Eugene, Oregon. He has the hometown advantage, and he's also one of 3 men in this race who have the Olympic standard taken care of.
You saw Eric Avila there standing beside Craig Engels earlier. Here we go. First semi in the men's 1500. Top 5 in each semi will go through to Sunday's final. And Engels is pretty quick to go to the front straight away.
You know, yesterday they were all kind of just warming up, getting the kinks out, you know, getting through that first round. And I think this is when things start to get a little bit more serious. You can't make any major mistakes here in this semi. You have to make sure you run good and clean and get into that final round.
Sitting in the top 5, talking about collegians, sitting in the top 5 there is Jack Yerian, who is the 23-year-old who is coming off his senior year here at Oregon. Boy, he had a storming closing 150 meters to get himself into this semi.
He did. And, you know, his teammate at Oregon, Cole Hawker, said that he took that heat out and kept it fast because he wanted to make sure that Yerian got through. And so he had a great race, and here he is in the semi.
Isaac Yorks leads the way in that bright yellow top.
You know, Isaac Yorks is not afraid to lead. We saw him leading in some of the prelim as well. He's not afraid to get out there and push the pace and take control of the race.
Colby Alexander, Eric Holt in the black tops, running in 2nd and 3rd. Eric Avila is in the mix. Here it comes Yared Nuguse in that Notre Dame, that white top, green bottoms, right alongside Craig Engels.
You know, it's always sort of stressful watching the milers because they all believe they have the best kick of anyone in the race. So they're all kind of feeling it out here. This pace isn't super fast. It's not hot. They all feel like at this point they're all in contention. And that's why we see these really crazy last 500 meters because that's when all the kicking begins. But Isaac Yorks is really controlling this race right now, and he looks pretty controlled out there.
Obviously, because of COVID restrictions and the global pandemic, there was no national championships last year. Last time there was, back in 2019, Isaac Yorks, who leads this race, qualified for the final in the men's 1500. And he's setting a good pace here.
Yeah, and Colby Alexander is just following there. He looks good too. Eric Holt there. I mean, everyone is just sort of biding their time, but they know that in the next 200 meters, you know, there is going to be a move made. And so they're all getting ready for that position and getting ready for when that move comes.
Look at Eric Avila trying to get through. He gets by Holt. He gave him a little tap before just to let him know that he was there. Craig Engels is boxed in blue and green in the Nike outfit right in the middle. He's going to have to position himself pretty sensibly here as they're coming to the bell lap.
Yeah, Engels is not in a great position, but remember, they still have over 400 meters to run, and he's very experienced. He ran at the World Championships in Doha. He was the U.S. champion in 2019. He's been here before. He's going to have to use some patience and work his way around and move up.
Hey, here comes the youngster, the 22-year-old Walid Suleiman goes to the lead, and he said, you know what? I've never lined up against people like this before. It was about time I raced the big dogs.
Oh, yeah, like he's just taking it. You know, he wants to be in through that final, and he's like, if you're all going to wait, then I'll take it and make it happen. So he's really striding in it now, and the pace is quickening here. We can see Nuguse and Engels realize they need to respond. This move is real.
Colby Alexander goes around Suleiman. Holt is in the mix. Yared Nuguse. Now here comes Craig Engels up behind Suleiman. But it's Alexander, Colby Alexander, the 30-year-old from Strongsville, Ohio, that leads the way in this semi-final. top 5 get through. It's the automatic qualification. Engels is struggling. He's going to have to push through. He goes past Sullivan. Here comes Jared Naguz. And in the end, it's going to be Craig Engels that gets the win. But that's tight. We've got some sorting out to do as to who gets the auto qualify, because there were about 3 or 4 right on the line there. Super close.
That was so close, and that's what I'm talking about. These milers, they all think they have the best kick in the field, and they do have tremendous kicks, but when it comes down to it, one person has to be first, and we only take the top 5 auto through here, so we'll have to watch that replay.
Craig Engels gets the win. He wasn't always in the best position. Watch him squeeze through here.
Yeah, he finds himself boxed in, coming off the home turn, which is the worst place to be in a mid-distance race, but he keeps calm. He sees a little movement there and sort of squeezes his way past Holt and to move up, and then once he was through and clear, and he could really stride out and take advantage of that room, but he had to find that room so that he could open up and charge home.
It was David Ribich on the inside, and Vincent Ciardi all in green. This is where it gets tight, and we now get the results through. Just watch as they come to the line there, how many were leaning and who was where. Engels gets the win, Jared Naguz gets second, Colby Alexander third, Vincent Ciardi, and then David Ribich. So running down the rail right to the line, Ribich gets that 5th and final auto qualify. So Waleed Suleiman, who took the lead at the bell lap, he's going to have to rely on his time, because it is the top 5 in each semi. 1500 semifinals, it's the second one. As we went to the break, we promised you Matthew Centrowitz, the Rio gold medalist.
A great reception from the crowd here. Of course, he was an Oregon Duck. He comes here, his father was an Olympian in 1976. His father, who he's named after. He's had such a great career, kicking off in 2011 with a world medal in the outdoor championships, global championships. And now he's struggled a little bit the last few years. He's gotten a little bit older, and he's had some injuries. He switched coaches, but he really seems to be rounding into form now when it matters, and you could never count him out. He's the best tactician in the world.
Kara mentioned his dad. That was Matt sitting in the stands. And Centro here on track has a tattoo when he made that Rio team, like father, like son, and ran all the way to get the gold. So he's the big name in the event. Here's a young man who's made his name at the University of Oregon and would like to make it on a larger scale. This is Cole Hocker, the 20-year-old from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Cole Hocker's had an unbelievable year at Oregon this year, winning 3 NCAA titles. And, he took his heat yesterday and just controlled the whole thing. He said afterwards, I'm not afraid to run from in front. That's where I'm comfortable. That's how I do my best. He really feels like he's ready to land himself a spot on this Olympic team. So
he's been a collegiate star. This guy has been a high school standout, Hobbs Kessler. Expect him to run beyond his years here in the second semi.
Hobbs Kessler, he's never done rounds before, and when he was being interviewed yesterday after making it through in the prelim, he said it was a new experience. He didn't know what to expect, but he really handled the race with maturity. He sat in the back. He didn't do any of the work, and then when they came around the bend for the home stretch, he just came right into position to qualify for the semi today. Centrowitz
goes right to the front. Cole Hocker is going with him. Sam Prakel is tucked in behind Centro. You see all in green at the back with the headband on. That's Ben Blankenship, Rio Olympian. Ben qualified on time. He thought he may not have done enough yesterday and was waving to the crowd almost like it was a farewell, but his time was actually good enough.
I read that he's only been running for 3 weeks last night. So he's obviously been coming off an injury. Oh, we see a stumble there. Everyone's bunched. We see pushing. But for Ben Blankenship to make it through and run that time after just a few weeks of training just shows you what a talent he is.
Johnny Gregoric is in the mix. You can see him with hip number 8. And Sam Prakel well positioned there. Number 1 on the inside, right in behind Matthew Centrowitz, and right alongside hip number 9, Cole Hocker.
We see Trip Hurt in the lead here. He controlled a little bit of the race yesterday as well. He's coming out here and he wants to push up at the front, stay out of any trouble, and work his way towards the final. So 4th from the back with that yellow waistband is Hobbs Kessler, the 18-year-old from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Yesterday, it looked like he was in a precarious position, and this kid just rocketed home. His coach says that he is a born racer.
He said, I've seen many come and go. This kid is born to race.
You know, he's definitely something special, and we've all been excited to watch him run here. You know, he was asked at the press conference yesterday after his first round, you know, experience versus youth, like, who has the advantage? And he said, experience. I've never done this before. I don't have any experience here at all, but he's been handling it really well. He knows he's coached by the best. He trains with the best, and he just needs to keep a level head and do what he does best, which is compete.
Red and white outfit, the Rio gold medalist, Matthew Centrowitz, just ticking along at the front, doesn't look stressed. Right alongside Hurt, Maggott is there, and then Thompson. There's Johnny Gregoric in blue on the outside.
You know, they just ran a pretty slow lap, so that's why we're seeing everyone bunch and gather here. There's no way they can leave it for a slow last lap. They're all in contention now. They've all regrouped, and this is going to be a blistering last 400 as everyone shoots for their position over this final lap. And we see Josh Thompson work his way in here on the outside. He trains with Matthew Centrowitz as a part of the Bowerman Track Club, and they've been training together all spring.
Here comes Johnny Gregoric in blue, and Cole Hocker. There's the bell. One to go. Centrowitz, Gregoric, Hocker. The high school star is at the back. Hobbs Kessler's going to have to find a few extra gears.
Here we go. They're winding up now. And, you know, we've seen Centrowitz here be in the front for most of the race. That's not typically how we see. He likes to come out and move around and find a way at the end. But he looks awfully in control here. He sees a challenge from Cole Hocker. And this is duck versus duck, the old versus the new.
The NCAA champ of this year in this event up against the reigning Olympic champion. And Johnny Gregoric has a shot as well. Top 5 go through. Where is Hobbs Kessler? He's at the back. He's going to have a phenomenal final 100 meters. Look at this. Oregon Star versus Oregon Star. And you know what? Centrowitz will say, go on, young fella. You can have it. It doesn't matter. We're both going through to the final. Centrowitz and Hocker across the line to go through to the final of the men's 1500.
That was one heck of a last lap. That was a 52.0 second last lap. They wanted to show what they had. They didn't want to show all their cards, but they were reminding each other, hey, I have a lot of speed to close out with here. You see Cole Hocker just exit the stadium. Here they come down, these two duck stars looking at each other. Centrowitz gives them a little glance. Cole Hocker's fighting him to the line. And finally, Centrowitz says, you know what? All right, you can take it. I don't mind.
That could have been a little good for you. You won an NCAA title. I've won an Olympic gold medal.
It was a great race out of both of them, doing a little chatting, both showing that they're here. They're both serious about making that team, and just a little friendly rivalry here as they run through the line.
Josh Thompson, teammate to Matthew Centrowitz, ran a very good race and a particularly strong finish to come home in third ahead of Henry Wynn. And Sam Prakel will get that auto qualify through to the final. And I can tell you on time from both semis, Waleed Suleiman and Eric Avila will fill those final 2 spots. And here are those key qualifiers going to the final. And you'll see that on Sunday. How about that one, Paul Swangard? What a race. It was a big